Sure, why not?
Yeah.
That's a good point. I'm glad you said that. So I'll bring that down. So anybody that I didn't say the rest on the video, that's what we did. If you want to make that look a little cleaner, uh, 4s over 2 root 13 is 2s over the square root of 13. And then negative 9 plus 3s over the square root of 13.
I just realized that was an S. That was a 5.
So our initial point, reference point, was already like basically baked into the parameterization function.
Yes.
Is that always going to be the case?
No, you might want to start at a different point. In terms of the test, it will be. I didn't change the reference point in terms of the test. But let's see. If we could, to answer your question a little bit better, what if this is t equals 0 gives 7 and negative 9. What would t equals 1 give? T equals 1 would give me x equals 11 and y equals negative 3 when I plug those in. So another parameterization of that would be 11 plus 4t, negative 3 plus 6t. They just have different t naughts. Here, t0 is 11, negative 3. Previously, it was 4, negative 9. So it just changes. I could start it anywhere. I could have gone with t equals 1/2. You know, it just changes where you're starting.
Yeah, Jericho said, how do you like, so.
Could I get a little bit more than how do you want to finish the question?
I guess my question is like, could that say x equals 4t plus anything else?
It has to meet the equations up above.
It has the reference point. It has to be valid in that in that parameter level that you give us, right?
Yeah. If you try to say 4t plus 10 and 6t minus 300, we're going to get, it's not going to be on this same line. It has to be on the curve.
Right. And so you couldn't put that and then say reference point 7, negative 9. That wouldn't make any sense, right?
No, well, the reference point is what happens when you plug in t equals 0. T equals 0 or s equals 0, that's the reference point. What do you get at R when you do that? That's your reference point.
Oh, okay. I guess that was a confusion. All right.
Is that a better way of seeing it?
So even if you didn't give us the reference point, we could get it just by looking at the components.
It's your R naught. It's your initial point. I don't know why they call it a reference point. I like initial point better. I think they go with reference point because saying it's initial there is saying t equals 0 there, and t doesn't have to equal 0 there. T can equal 0 anywhere on the line so long as we put the right reference point. Okay, number 2. What do we got here? We got curvature.
So many mistakes on this one. Well, actually, no, Didn't have the zero. I didn't have
This
the
prime problem is pretty easy as well. And I'm going to use 0, but I don't have it yet. We will need it at the end for kappa. Recall where we're going with kappa is r prime of t cross r double prime of t. We're going to take the magnitude of that and divide by the magnitude of r prime of t cubed. That's kappa. So we need the first two derivatives and the magnitude of the cross product and the magnitude of the first derivative. That's where we're going. So first derivative, straightforward. 3t squared, 4t, 0. Second derivative is also pretty easy. 6t and 4. Magnitude of r prime. And magnitude of r prime of 1, since it's at t equals 1, is square root of 9 plus 16, which is square root of 25.
Wow.
You're just plugging in 1 for t. If I do r prime of 1 as a vector, I have 3, 4, 0. And r double prime of 1 is 6, 4, 0. And if I want to find the cross product, we have 0i hat and 0j hat. But k is 3 times 4 minus 4 times 6, which is negative 12k hat. That's r prime of 1 cross r double prime of 1, which means the magnitude of that is square root of negative 12 squared is just 12. Kappa of 1 is magnitude of r prime of 1 cross r double prime of 1 over the magnitude of r prime of 1 cubed, which is 12 over 5 cubed, which is 12 over 125. And that's kappa at 1. That problem is not too bad either. Couple derivatives, couple plug it in, and it should go pretty quick.
Wait, so the only difficult response. I mean, look at it, we're going to be early. Doesn't matter.
You guys ready for the next one?
Is there any questions at all?
I see people still writing. I'll be patient.
Value.
And the next one's pretty ugly. The next one took me the most amount of work. I think the test version one is easier.
Why is that minus? Okay, why is that 3 times 4 minus 4?
Because you're
that minus that.
Yeah, you're when you do it, you multiply the first one.
Yeah, I was adding them.
Oh, Quinn has baked your noodle, hasn't he? You're not even doing cross products in your head, Lawrence. What? Come on, man. He got you so flustered. All right, so what are you guys going to do to James when you find out he got 100% on that physics test? Is James going to disappear? Am I going to have to like wonder if he's all right?
I mean, isn't high school? Everybody's not going to bully him into getting a worse score.
I didn't say bully into getting a worse score. I just meant, taking him out completely. You take the queen off the chessboard, it gets a little bit easier to play. Am I right? Wow, I just called James a queen. That's not where I was going with that, but James is gonna go home and tell his dad, Mr. Jones is calling me a queen. You better make sure you say it was a chess reference. I don't need your father, texting me and saying I'm calling you a girl or anything like that. All right, are you guys ready for number 3?
Blakely hands.
At the very least, make sure it's a strong.
Because I have a problem. James's father knows where to find me every Saturday and Sunday. He'll be like, no, Mr. Jones, I didn't tell him anything. And then I walk outside Starbucks and Mr. Blakely's sitting there with a baseball bat with nails studded to it. All right, number 3. So we had R of T equals, ignoring the I hat and J hat, just writing it in good old vector notation. That was R of T. Nope, that's negative 8t. There we go. And we need to find B and A. And we need to find A of N and A of T. So as a reminder, A of T is V dot A over the magnitude of V, and A of N is V cross A, the magnitude thereof, over V. So we got a couple magnitudes to find, and then some other operations. We're going to start with V. As a reminder, V is R prime. The derivative of position is speed or velocity. So R prime is V of T. And what is this? We've got 1/2 of 16t squared minus 1 to the negative 1/2 times 32t. That's the first component, and the negative component is, or the next component is just negative 8. And if you want, you can put the comma 0 in there for 3 dimensions. I'm going to clean it up a little bit because that just looks flat out shitty. So 1/2 times 32 is 16. I've got 16t and then 16t squared to the negative one, minus 1 to the negative 1/2, negative 8, 0, and that's v. So I'll put a box around that so I can find it later. I need it. This is where it starts to get messy. That wasn't too bad.
Wait, why you got a comma between your?
Because it's a vector.
No, but there's like a comma between the first part and negative 8. Then just
Negative 8 is the y component, and then 0 is the z component.
Oh shit.
All right, this is where it gets a little messy because we've got a product right there for the x component. We can see y and z are both going to be 0 when we take the derivative. So all we've got for r double prime is an I component. And now it's just figuring out what it is. I will do the product rule. I'll take the, I like doing the derivative them in order. So I'll take the derivative of the first half and leave the second half alone. And then I will take the derivative of the second part. So that's the first part left alone. The derivative of the second part is negative 1/2 times 16t squared minus 1 to the negative 3/2 times 32t. And that's my I component. And we're not going to leave it like that because that's ugly as shit and it might make it a lot easier if we clean it up. So again, this is I. I've got 16 over square root of 16t squared minus 1. And then I've got 16 times negative 1/2 is negative 8t. And negative 8 times 32 is negative 256. So I've got a minus 256. I've got 2 t's on top, so t squared. And the bottom has 16t squared minus 1 to the 3/2. It looks like I can get a common denominator if I multiply this one by 16t squared minus 1 over 16t squared minus 1. So if I do that, what does the top become? 16 squared is 256. And then I've got minus 256t squared all over 16t squared minus 1 to the 3/2. R prime, or the second derivative just cleans up to, that was the I component, negative 16 over 16t squared minus 1 to the 3/2, comma 0, comma 0. That's my R double prime. And that's A. All right, so we've got V of t, we've got A of t. We need the magnitude of V. Maybe we should do that real quick. Well, however quick we're, real quick is relative, right? So we have the square root. I've got 16t over the square root of 16t squared minus 1. That's going to get squared plus negative 8 squared plus 0 squared if I do the z component. This is the square root of 256t squared over 16t squared minus 1. I've got plus 64. I could try to clean it up a little. Get a common denominator. Does anything combine? If we do that, 64 times 16 plus 256, what is that? Before I write what I put down, calculated last night when I was tired, let's just make sure I got that math right. I do have that right. It's 1280t squared minus 64 over 64 or 16t squared minus 1. 1280 is evenly divisible by 64. So I can factor out a 64 out of the top half and take out the square root of 64. We get the magnitude of v of t equals 8 root 20t squared minus 1 over the square root of 16t squared minus 1. It's not pretty, but it's the answer. And now we're almost there, right? So that's what we got, R of t, or we got v of t, we got a of t. That was two of the things requested. The other thing is the tangential component of acceleration and normal component of acceleration. So if we look for a of n, or a of t first, let's do a of t first. It's the dot part. It's the easier one. We are going to dot v with a. So I have 16t over square root of 16t squared minus 1. Multiply, that's the x component of v, times the x component of a is negative 16 over 16t squared minus 1 to the 3 halves. And then I've got plus negative 8 times 0 and plus 0 times 0. That's the numerator. I'm going to leave that over to the magnitude of v for a second. I'm off screen, aren't I?
Yeah.
So 16 times negative 16, I got negative 256t over 16t squared minus 1. I've got 1/2 and 3 halves. That just adds up to a squared. And I can treat this magnitude of dividing by the magnitude of v is the same as multiplying by 1 over v. So multiplying by the reciprocal of v. Let's do that here. I'll multiply by the reciprocal of v here. The 8 root 20t squared minus 1 goes on bottom.
Oh, yeah.
3 halves goes on top. That's my 1 over v right there. It's not pretty. 8, the 256 cancel a little bit.
I did something horribly
32.
wrong.
So we've got negative 32t. This 3 halves is going to cancel almost all of this square down here. The denominator is the square root of 16t squared minus 1 times the square root of 20t squared minus 1. And that's some ugly ass shit, right? That's my tangential component.
Oh. Depends on the past. It also looks like that. It's what it is.
This is very ill.
I feel like the chance of hope.
There's no hope.
The key is to hope for the best and expect the worst. That's my philosophy.
It's ugly, but it doesn't mean it's wrong. You just got to trust in your work.
It's fine to have confidence. Just don't have too much confidence. It'll lead to mistakes. Really bad.
See, my goal is to have Benjamin walking out of class going, I wonder if I actually did as good as I think I hope I did. If I can just cause a second of self-doubt, I've succeeded. Yeah, what's the question?
You wrote down the magnitude of V wrong.
Okay.
Wow.
It should be 1 over 2.
Oh.
It should not be 3 over 2.
I like how
Oh, I see what happened. Yeah, it should be down there when you look at the dot.
It's 1/2, right?
Yeah.
You're right. So this would be 3 halves right here. Thank you.
Okay, just combine them together.
Is that what you were pointing out, Ben?
Yes.
Do you feel good?
Yes.
A little bit of pride catching the teacher on some bullshit, right? I agree. You earned that. You earned that.
Wait, did we ever find the domain?
Was the domain part of the problem?
Like my first part, find the domain.
Oh, was domain part of the problem?
We'll do the domain. I'll go back to it in a second. You're right, it was.
Wait a second.
We still need to find A of n. So let's do that. So A of n is B cross A, magnitude.
Just said it. That's so
Okay, why are you have a magnitude in front of the A?
Yeah, like a magnitude inside your magnitude.
Get over it. Ben's thrown me off my game, catching me on my shit. So let's do B cross A. Did we do B cross A yet? No, we didn't. So what do we got for V? V was 16t over square root of 16t squared minus 1. We had -8. We have 0. A had -16 over 16t squared minus 1 to the 3 halves. 0 and 0. I'll throw an I, a J, a K in. We'll find the cross product. The only component we have is a K component. and it's -8 times -16. And it's this minus that. So I'm going to have minus is 3 negatives, or we get a negative value. 16 times 8 is 128. And the bottom is 16t squared minus 1 to the 3 halves.
I'm getting 1,000.
You're getting a what?
I can't even. I need to get go up there. I can't even write down what it's already. I'm trying to do it myself.
Oh, yeah, try not to multiply wrong.
All right, we want the magnitude of that. That just squares it and takes the square root. And since it's only the k component, it really just gets rid of the negative sign, right?
Yeah, you can start recording.
Well, I mean, you also probably gonna post the whole like answer he changed it last time.
Oh, yes. I would assume that you are posting the answer, right? Like you did last time.
Makes sense when he does it. I do wrong.
And again, we're going to multiply by the reciprocal of magnitude of b.
Too much pressure from this. I need to scare off some of your students.
Look at it. You see what you're looking forward to? Drop now.
Oh, kidding me? I looked at it. I can't wait. I really
I'm excited talking about I'm gonna go to his side, scare off all his students.
Oh yeah, that happens.
115.
So A of t equals A sub t times t plus A sub n times n.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
I only know
which is negative 32t. And then I'm bringing this down.
Wait, Professor Jones?
Yeah.
For the cross product, are we gonna find the magnitude of that and then divide by the magnitude of
yeah,
vector b?
The magnitude of this though, when you take the magnitude, it squares this and takes the square root. All it does is it gets rid of the negative sign. So the magnitude of just any value time, I'll go c times k hat is just the magnitude of c.
We got 16, we need common derivative. That's 16t squared minus 1.
Or the absolute value of c.
Up here.
No, it's way, way back.
Well, as long as you do this derivative square, I'm pretty sure
You should have to do the chain rule though, because you had a square root, and you have to do the derivative of the inside and the outside.
I can make sure. Mr. Jones, I would assume that you did do chain rule when you did when you found the derivative.
Which derivative?
For which one? For the acceleration or velocity?
Chain rule had to be going to r double prime. So I started off, I took the derivative of the first half, which is 16t, gives me 16, and I left the second half alone. And then I left the 16t alone. I brought the power down and I lowered it by a power. So negative 1/2 is that. Mine looks correct. If I clean it up wrong, but the derivative's correct.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm thinking of mine. I'm thinking of mine.
Oh, and then we had the domain. The domain was on this. So the original R of T was.
I guess the limit
like simplify it part of it to make it easier to work with. So maybe that part where you can really
he's up there, so he lifted everything over.
Yeah,
Sure. Instead of having the
looks.
Oh, you mean like, yeah, this is there.
The radicand has to be greater, non-negative. So 16t squared is greater than or equal to 1. T squared is greater than or equal to 1 over 16. And so the absolute value of T is greater than or equal to 1/4, which means T is greater than 1/4 or T is less than or equal to negative 1/4. So negative infinity to negative 1/4. Open parentheses on that side, in union with 1/4 to infinity is the domain.
So we could have found the domain to start doing that.
Yeah, I just forgot to do it. That's why. Okay. That's why I did it at the end.
So now let's see. We found domain. We found B of T and A is T. Wait, but you said. Oh. Oh, that's nice. We didn't have to find T of T or N of T.
No, you didn't need T or N in that problem.
That would have been even worse.
The problem quite clearly says you do not need to calculate T or N. I didn't want anybody to think we had to. You'll be doing that on number 4. It doesn't look like I'm going to have time to do number 4 on this. I will upload the answer key.
Started for the next 7 minutes ago.
Yes. And the videos for 13.1 are up because we're doing those on Monday. I will be at Starbucks 8 to 11 Saturday and Sunday. If anybody texts me and says they're going to be there. If you're going to show up, please text, message, or email. Because like when I have 2 people say they're going to show up and then like 12 show up, it's really, really fucking hard to account for how many tables I need to grab. Like, and if you don't let me know, you're probably going to end up be sitting off to the side and coming over and asking me questions because there wasn't table space because I couldn't like grab tables before I knew. So say something, please.
Oh, and I have an announcement as well. So due to the low traffic of my SIs, I will be also setting up a Zoom meeting during my SIs. So for anybody who cannot make it, can still make it if they go through Zoom. I will have it set up.
Oh, I'll set up the one for tomorrow on Tech Connect and see if it works.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, just in case, I'll have my own thing set up so I can send in a link just in case through the announcement.
Okay. What hours is it on Friday?
12 to 2 and 8:30 to 9:30 a.m.
8:30 to 9:30 a.m. and then 12 to 2. All right, I'll set up the tech right after this. Number 4 is a little bit easier, at least on the practice exam. That square root really made question number 3 take a lot longer. All right, I will see you guys
Don't put a square root on it.
Saturday. I'm glad Quinn got his Physics 56 test done this week. That way Eric doesn't spend 6 hours this weekend asking me physics shit.
Oh, we got more.
Nope, ignoring you.
Don't worry, we got the regrade.
You may have more, but you got a test on this coming up. I'm going to assume you're going to be focusing on your math exam coming up and not asking me some fucking electric field bullshit. I know it's electric field because Lawrence was bringing it up yesterday, just kept prompting it. I will see you guys on Saturday and Sunday. If you're coming, please let me know.
I will see you guys tomorrow if I see you. All right.
Had to be greater than 1. I don't know the notation.
Oh, yeah, CSO's right.
Library? The library.
Yes.
Yes, I said the library. Library?
No, I have some.
All right, Professor John, if I don't see you this weekend, you have a nice weekend.
You too, Zach.
Yeah, see you later.
Later, Brandon.
Take care.
Seems like nobody has any questions. You're good, Jericho?
I don't know.
That sounds like you're good.
Just gonna work on physics.
All right. I will see you later then.
Okay.